Hold my suitcase.
This is WQFS Greensboro. This is Tim, and we have a special broadcast tonight. Noises you hear in the background are the sound checks for the November 11th Mr. Bungle show at the Cat's Cradle. And tonight we have with us, we have Trevor Dunn and Roto from the band. How you doing, guys?
Good. Great.
Good to have you here.
Just did laundry. I have clean pants. I feel good.
You just played a game of Asteroids?
Yep.
Asteroids.
Vintage old school.
We had to hold off the interview for a few minutes so we could get a game in. I guess for the benefit of the listeners who may not know, Mr. Bungle's 15 years, 3 albums.
Pretty sad.
Divide, 15 by 3. That's an album every 5 years. I guess. Well, the first one came out in '91, and
right.
The most recent one was California, which came out
June,
July.
Yeah, it was June.
I think it was July.
June 8th.
Something like that.
No, it was July. Right?
Don't argue with me. Okay. It was June, all right?
It came out in June.
Well, I know it got pushed back because the Chili Peppers had to put theirs out.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I was always wondering why it got pushed back. But we'll get to that one later, I guess.
We will.
We'll definitely get to that one.
Recently, I've noticed there's been a recent Onion interview. There's even been a CNN interview, and I'm just wondering.
Really?
There's been I read an interview with Patton in CNN.
Wow.
Online recently, so I was just wondering, is the press actually taking to you guys this time around?
We have one particular improvement this time around is we have a really great press person at Warner Brothers, Monica, who probably set up this interview, I'd imagine.
So is the relationship with Warner Brothers, is it pretty good overall?
She's about the only good thing I have to say about it right now.
What is Warner Brothers exactly? I mean, it's a star chamber,
what do
really,
they think of the
isn't it?
new album? I mean, did they take to it any better than they
Well,
did?
when we were recording it, we were kind of talking about the record as our, quote, pop record, and which it sort of is, but, to most bands, to most radios, that's a joke to call it a pop record.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers got kind of excited when we were talking about it, and then they heard it, and they just
don't quite get it.
Yeah.
Pop means different things to different people.
Yeah.
Obviously, the tradition of pop music is a great one. What pop means to the market is entirely different.
Yeah.
Well, there's been speculation about Retro Vertigo actually becoming a single, and it seems to be the one that's often played off the album. But are you actually considering releasing it as a single?
Probably not at this late of date. I mean, we wanted to originally. We wanted to just release it as is. Warner Brothers wanted us to do a remix, but they wanted us to pay for it, and we weren't ready to do that because even if you pay $10,000 for a remix, you're not guaranteed a hit.
Well, a remix, who would
I don't know, Armin van Helden or DJ Seabiscuit. I mean, you never really know what you're going to come out with, do you?
It's basically the name that you pay for, I think, But hey, what's new?
Okay, I guess one of the things that at least I was always curious about is that there's often elements of, foreign elements. I really don't know how to word this, but I mean, you have like Desert Search, you've got the Middle Eastern feel there. You've got a lot of Italian
music
here and
du
there.
monde.
Latin are you fluent in more than one language, or is someone really influenced by Middle Eastern traditions?
Well, we all listen to a lot of different kinds of music. We're not limited to American pop radio, that's for sure. In fact, people often ask us what our favorite bands are, and we usually don't have an answer because we don't really listen to bands very much. We listen to,
So you're not too keen on the pop scene at the moment?
No, I
don't have
occasionally
any favorites or anything.
No, absolutely not.
Which is also not to mention the fact that the idea of what's your favorite band is sort of a monochromatic way to look at music.
Yeah.
I mean, in all earnestness, music is a global thing, and when you're a musician, you're constantly going through different phases and trying to unearth new things to keep your own creative mind fresh. And we'll sit in the van and listen to Dumbeck music, and just listen to that Dumbeck part. It's wonderful. It isn't like any of us are going to say, well, we're not strictly rock listeners, that's for sure.
Was that your rider van outside, taking all your equipment?
Yeah, that's our gear.
I noticed last time around, I saw you guys this summer at Avalon in Boston, and it was the budget rent-a-trucks. They're not, Warner Brothers isn't putting up the big fancy tour buses for you guys.
They would give us tour support, but it's what you call recoupable, which means we have to pay the money back, and there's no point in taking out a loan like that. We'd rather just do it cheaply and try and make a little bread.
Secondly, there's nothing particularly glamorous about a tour bus experience. I think on the first 2 days it's glamorous to be able to play Sony PlayStation and play Bloody Roar in the back lounge, but the truth is a van staying in hotels is quite a bit preferable to sleeping in small mosquito-sized bunks.
Right.
Would you say that all of your songs have quote-unquote meaning to them? Or some of them, you know?
Well, definitely, I would say yes with quotes around it.
Well, can I list off a couple titles from the new album? Maybe get like a couple word explanation.
Sure,
from,
I'll do.
This is the one I'm very curious about. None of them knew they were robots.
Yeah, that's Trey wrote that song. Mm-hmm. He wrote the lyrics for it, and he could definitely go on for hours about it. So I'm not even going to speculate.
Okay,
I'll
air-conditioned nightmare.
Okay.
I'd be happy to speculate.
Please speculate.
I would suggest that none of them knew they were robots was a situationist critique of cultural conformity.
How about air-conditioned nightmare?
Those are Mike's lyrics. Those are a little bit more obscure. Some of these lyrics, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people try and fit these into the California theme, and it's not always going to work.
You remember that Metallica song "One," which was about the guy who'd come back from the war, from what was that, Johnny something, and he was completely bandaged.
Right.
He couldn't speak, but he was looking up, and the words were essentially what he was thinking, basically, just put me to death, kill me, get it over with right now. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to live. Air-conditioned nightmare appears to be sort of the inner narrative of a patient in a hospital who can only see outside of his window through his bandages, but dreams of going out into the air. And I believe the end of the song is when he actually gets outside, and as simple as it is to take a few small steps into the sunshine.
That's a really good explanation, Roto.
Really happy to do it.
You're on a roll tonight.
That's what it
Interpretations by Roto.
Yes, thank you.
All right, how about
the only thing I remember about that Metallica album is how horrible the bass drum sounded.
Really tinny, but I remember how well they banged their heads in that video all at once.
Oh, yeah. The circle banging.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you wrote Gollum 2.
Trey wrote that.
You wrote that? All right, wait, what did you write in the album? I'm trying to remember.
Good question. I wrote Retro Vertigo,
tell me about
Holy
Retro
Filament, and part of what's that one song? Vanity Fair. Retro Vertigo, you want to know about?
Yeah, let's go for that.
Retro Vertigo is about culture, false culture, American culture. I was just thinking about it today because somebody asked me about it, and a lot of those lyrics were inspired by such great current events as O.J. Simpson and Monica Lewinsky, that kind of stuff that really takes the forefront of our culture, and it's fucking really disturbing.
We're gonna pause for a moment to hear a song off the album California, and I guess we'll go ahead and do Retro Vertigo. Give it a shot.
Right on.
It's a good song, so listen up.
Can't go wrong.
We are back.
Already,
we are
wow.
back with
that must have been the remix.
with
Baby
Trevor
got
Roto
back,
from
okay.
Mr. Bungle here at Cat's Cradle on November 11th.
There you have some feedback, which is currently
the
a
sound
big theme
checks in
on
the
store.
background. So, well, I noticed in the shows there's a lot of cover songs done, and I was just curious as what process you went through to pick out which covers.
Well, kind of the same process that we've always dealt with. We just kind of, different people in the band start picking out cover songs. We always intend to do a fair amount of cover songs on the road, and people put their ideas on tape, and we just pick out ones we want to learn. And
Just curious, who's the Dead Kennedys fan?
Who's not?
Yeah, who's not?
Who's not? All right,
question.
good answer.
I mean, we're from San Francisco,
Yeah,
they're like,
we'll lead into another question later.
ooh, that's about a 2K, I would say.
Well, I guess you kind of weave in and out of different genres, or just different kinds of music are often brought in. Is there anything that you haven't touched on before that you've always wanted to, or that maybe you've thought about doing in the future? Any types of music, any instruments you want to play in the future?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, there is. No music for therapy. There's been no music for therapy in this band whatsoever. It's unbelievable. We don't want to help people. We want to hurt them.
Okay.
So.
Well, just what is in store for the future? Are we going to have to wait another 4 long, grueling years before we get another?
I hope not.
taste?
I mean, I don't want to make any promises, but things are a little bit different. We're touring a lot more than we have before. Hopefully, the writing process will happen quicker than the recording process. Hopefully, it won't be another 4 years. I mean, it always takes us a long time. I would just guess that it would be a couple years after this last record before we're ready to really put down some new ideas.
And we're going to pause another moment to hear another song. What do you guys want to hear this time around?
How about
think,